Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I'm going to be removing the all-wheel drive shaft that goes from the front of the car to the rear axle assembly. This car is not driving smoothly. Somebody drove it until that front shaft had some kind of failure. So it needs to be replaced, and I'm going to show you how to remove it here. From what I've heard and read, this is about a 30-minute process. Hope it's not much longer than that because I need to get the vehicle to get some tires put on it. There are several Volvos starting in the US in 1998 that had an all-wheel drive system that's somewhat passive. It's not the best system by design from what I understand, but it is a good system, especially if serviced. I read a post on Matthew's Volvo site by Jimmy 57, basically said that these shafts should be serviced no less than every 100,000 miles. So if you got foresight of that, maybe it's something you could do every 5 to 10 years, or every 10 years in 100,000 miles or 50,000 miles to stay ahead of it, so that you keep the bearings and stuff like that in the ends of the shaft lubricated and properly greased so they don't wear out. On this one, I could barely move the vehicle, and it barely moves, makes noise. So I'm gonna pull the shaft out and install a new one. So this is probably gonna be a 3-part video, hopefully all short. The first one, removing the shaft assembly for those of you that just want to remove it. The second one, showing how to rebuild the axle assembly. And then the third one is the install. If I had to guess, these first generation all-wheel drive vehicles from 98 through 2000, probably 60% of them has had the shaft removed, and people do that versus fixing them. This lady had an estimate of about $2,800 to replace the shaft and install new tires. It's extremely important to keep tires of even wear on the vehicle. So if you have to replace one tire, you probably should replace them all. So that's a expensive option. But if you don't, and you just install 1 or 2 new tires, you'll probably wear the shaft out in no time. So that's something to keep in mind if you have one of these all-wheel drive vehicles, or if you fix one of these and want to keep it all-wheel drive. Now, in 50–60% of the vehicles that these shafts have been removed from, it's probably an economical decision, but you can drive these vehicles fine as a 2-wheel drive. You just won't have that extra grip and traction in snow and mud and stuff like that as an all-wheel drive system has. So let's get started. It's all the tools and equipment you need to get that shaft out. The 3/8 drive with a 12mm, the 1/4-inch drive with the little bit that fits in those hexes. I think it's a number 6 Allen. I used that box-in wrench number 12 to get to the bolt on the carrier I couldn't reach, and I used it as a breaker bar for the bolts in the end of the shaft. I used that screw to dig out the screw holes, and I used a short extension. So not much, but that will get that shaft out. You also want to use a jack stands or ramps, and you might want some goggles because I had a lot of dirt falling down, especially from that center support. The shaft is on the passenger side of the exhaust system, so I'm going to attempt to tilt the car up on the passenger side on these ramps and access it that way. The post I read on Matthew's site recommended lifting the vehicle totally off the ground, so let's see if this works for me. Okay, I'm slid under the vehicle. This is the front attaching point. It has these, I believe that I was told, number 6 hexes. You want to clean those out, and if you're in a rusty climate, or any climate for that matter, this vehicle has just over 200,000 miles on it. So it wouldn't have been a bad idea to spray these a day prior with some liquid wrench or PP blaster or something like that to break loose anything, especially if you're in a rusty environment that causes corrosion. And you want to clean those bolts out and take those out one at a time here on the front, and then go to the rear and do the same. Okay, so I put the Allen wrench in there, and I use a boxed in wrench as a breaker. Slide it on there like that, and then turn them counterclockwise, and the bolts will come loose. So do that the whole way around, take that apart, and you'll get the front loose. Okay, the front is loose. Now I need to go do the same for the back, and then take this center part apart. So let me work on getting the back apart. I'm gonna go back here to the back and take the back 6 bolts out of the rear of the shaft. Okay, I got all 6 of those bolts out of the rear. I set the parking brake, took 3 out, released the parking brake, spun the shaft around, took the last 3 out. Next it's time to take the center out. So I'm going to take that bolt out on the passenger side. On the driver's side, I'm going to loosen those pretty good. And then I'm going to take the 2 bolts out that support the courier. Recommendations was to take the hooks out of the bushings and tie the exhaust a little bit over toward the driver's side to help get that out. I always had a hard time with these things, so I'm going to try to leave those in and see what happens. Okay, now that everything is loose that I'm going to take loose, if you're planning on using this again, you might want to support the front of it with a hanger, or have somebody help you as you work this out so you don't damage it. Because I understand you could damage this center carrier bearing, and you don't want to do that if you're going to use it again. And you want to hang a hanger or something to catch it, support it, don't damage it while you work it out. Okay, I was able to work the shaft out without taking any of those bushings off of this exhaust. So I worked the front of it loose, got it to fall down a little bit. Since I'm not using this shaft, I pulled the shaft forward, worked the back loose. Once the back was loose, I shifted the shaft back to get the carrier mount from behind this bracket, and then I dropped it down to get it out. So it's out. Now the car should be drivable 2-wheel drive, and I'll talk to you about lubricating and servicing the shaft and an installation in another video. Now there's a boot in the end of this. This is the rear side. It looks fine, but the front end is torn. Let me show you it. That's the front end of the shaft. As you can see, the rubber boot is torn and grease is coming out of there. So this end of the shaft is bad. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.